Hello, Capricorn. Thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Bonfire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Supportive cards. I don't know what's in my words lately. Magical Spell Cards by Lucy Cavendish. I haven't used these decks in a while, just kind of feeling it. So here we are. I don't know where these accents are coming from, by the way. Okay, that's a bunch. Why is there so many cards? There are so many cards. Okay. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I want to say that the last reading for Capricorn was similar, where there's a lot going on around you, and it's kind of like seeing it happen and going, okay, what am I going to do with that? You're going into a point where things... there's good energy. You got the health, the justice, the home safe protection, the grace. You got a lot of good cards on your side, but I still feel like you're catching somebody else's ball, and you're just kind of like, all right, what do we got here? All right. Let me see what I got. All right, it's just kind of like, yeah, all right, this was dropped in my lap. Let me see what I can do with it. I'm having that feeling here. You've got strength with imagination in the beginning of this. Okay, I feel like this is like your power moment, oddly enough. Because it's kind of like, all right, I don't know if this is going to sound bad, so if you're watching on the other side, if you're not a Capricorn, but you're curious about what's going on with a Capricorn, don't take offense to this. But what I'm feeling is the Capricorn is looking at somebody else. If you're the Capricorn energy and you're looking at somebody else, you're like, all right, I know this one's a wingnut. I know they're going to take random lefts and right. It makes me laugh. It's like, all right, I see what I'm looking at here. I know this person's very random. I can't think of all the different ways they're going to take something, but I know, they go off somewhere. But like I'm thinking they could go left or right, and then all of a sudden they're going up in the mountain, and I'm like, when did going up become an option? Like, I thought you would go left or right, and then you went up. How'd you do that? Or like you're looking at this person kind of like, I can try to think, oh, I know what they might do, but then they will shock me sooner or later. So you're kind of looking at it like, I shouldn't call it a wingnut energy, because I literally think I would be the wingnut in this situation. I don't know of any Capricorn. Well, yes, I do know some Capricorns around me, so let's just leave that. I could be that wingnut energy that just goes, my own direction all of a sudden, and they're looking at me like, okay. I could be that wingnut energy. I think that's why it makes me laugh, because I know I've done that to earth signs before. I've done it. I'm a Pisces in I have an Aries moon. What do you want from me? I've done it. So I think that's why it's making me laugh, because I know I've shocked. Because there's a lot of Capricorns, and there's a few Virgos in my family too. And I think every now and then they're just kind of like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, what I want to do. So I feel like that's what the Capricorn's looking at. Somebody like me that just kind of goes off their own direction, and you're just kind of like, I mean, I kind of expect it at this point, but yeah, there they go again. And I almost feel like you're watching this energy, and you're seeing the fertility and the wisdom. You have, because I enable this energy. I enable it. I'm kind of this energy a lot of times. So this might sound a little bit something. It's got wisdom with the fertility. You know that they've got ideas. You know that they have plans. Something's going on upstairs. You see it in their eyes. They may be telling you about this. They may be telling you about that. And you're like, okay, I know they're heading towards a change. And I know that I can try to plan for it, but they could go way off in a direction I never thought they would. But you're like, that's okay. That's okay. I can deal with it. Now, I feel like you're trying to help this energy plan. You're trying to help. Okay. So the first thing when you see this coming forward, which still makes me kind of giggle, you're kind of like, okay, I see they're kind of, I don't know where they're going to go, but they're starting to get a little bit antsy. They're going to, the frog's going to jump. The frog's going to jump. I can see it. So before the frog jumps, you're like, here's some flies. It's almost like, here's some flies, eat these flies. You don't need to jump just yet. Here, eat some flies. Like, you know what I mean? Just the frog analogy, I guess. The health with the justice is kind of like you're trying to get in there and try to just impart some wisdom. Kind of like, I understand you got to do what you got to do. I understand you have to live life your own way. But, you know, maybe you could just, you know, stay within these borders if that's possible. Like, it's almost like, I know I can't control what you're going to do, but can we at least, like, choose a direction so I can at least know what direction? Like, are you going to go north, south, up, down? Like, there's so many different ways things can go. Like, are you going to start spinning in a circle? What are you going to do? Can you give me some type of idea of the direction you more than likely are heading? You're trying to work with this, and then you kind of want to talk it out. Kind of like, okay, if you're going north, what do you got up there? Like, what's attracting you to that direction? And that's how you're coming at them. Like, okay, I see you're saying that. What's attracting you there? Because you know how this energy works. You know it's not going to let you choose for it. Not that you really want to, but you'd like to have more of an idea about what's going to happen. But if you see what they're attracted to, you're like, if I can at least see what's pulling them that way, that this person, he, she, they, whatever the gender of this person is, you're like, if I can at least see that, maybe I can be sort of ready. But you're smart, and you're like, even though I'm getting this, I know it could still go a completely unpredictable way, and I know this. So this person talks with you. You get them to talk with you. Now, they seem to talk with you about this possibility, and then they seem to drop it. That's weird. Because you got letting go, divine guidance, but this card, the Four of Wands, no, Four of Swords. Four of Swords is kind of like a rest card, but I feel like what they're saying is it seems like they're letting it go. It's a matter of time before it pops back up. At some point, this will pop back up, whatever they're thinking of. So I feel like for the people watching this, whether you're a Capricorn or not, and you're connecting with this energy, it's either one of two things. Someone is just about to drop the situation, but it will come back later, or someone has dropped a situation from the past and it's about to come back into play. It's one or the two is what I'm getting, so keep an open mind with that, where you think that you're kind of touching on this, if it's resonating, of course. Because the direction is going to happen. Whatever direction they told you, I feel like that's pretty much the way they're going to go. The thing is, the unpredictable is when it happens. So they said they were going north. They said, this is what I'm attracted to. They seem to have talked it out with you, and they put it down, and you're just like, oh, well, maybe it's not going to happen. Then it just randomly, they're like, okay, I got my stuff together. I'm going north today. And you're kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. Because you know you can't stop them. It seems like you can't stop them. You're just kind of like, oh, okay. It's one of those responses, like, yeah, okay. And even though you kind of knew that was from the past, like, the moment it happens, you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know how else to say it. I just keep saying it the same way because I can't think of another way. It just keeps coming through that same way. Like, you're not totally shocked, but at the same time, you're like, a little bit more notice would have been nice, but apparently that's not going to happen. So there we are. The next phase for this person comes in. They're feeling stuck, and this is why. Okay, so this is interesting. You got Empress card. The Empress card is hiding the Hanged Man card. I feel like the Hanged Man card is the reason this is moving forward. Because, you know, the Three of Wands and the Hanged Man card, that seems kind of contradictory. The Hanged Man card usually isn't moving forward. It's just kind of stuck. The Three of Wands is, the way I read it anyway, is movement forward, travel, going forward, going to that next destination. So those are opposites, right? But it's coming in behind the Empress. The reason they're pushing forward at this moment is because they want to be unstuck. They feel like they're kind of just there, and they're not moving anywhere. They're not making any progress. So this is what's kind of getting that frog to jump. Even though you have all these flies around this frog, they're bored of the lily pad, and they're just kind of feeling like nothing is changing in their life. So there they go, because literally they're frustrated with the lack of change. That's why this is happening. I also see that they are walking away from some good things, and I feel like you're easily able to see this. Like, there's a lot of good that they're leaving behind. it's there. They are doing that. You are aware of that. I also get like, this seems to be the next phase for them. This is their plan. This is their life. This is how they progress. This should seem a little off to you because I don't think this is the way you live, but this is the way they live. So it's kind of like the school of hard knocks, maybe. I don't know. I feel like this is how this person lives. And that's just, this is how they learn. This is how they evolve. This is how their spiritual development works. This is different from you. They have a different way of going forward. So you could definitely see, I feel like when you're looking at this, you're kind of like, well, I don't think that was the best idea. And you feel like they're going to miss out on a lot because of that. Valid, true. But they're going to gain a lot because of this. But the way they do this is how, like, I feel like we're just trying to give information kind of like, you're not going to like this and feel like it was a big mistake. I feel like that's the thing. You're going to think it was a big mistake. But for them, this is literally right for them, so it's not really a mistake. But if you did this with your life, that probably would be a mistake because you don't live that way. I hope that makes sense because I feel like they're saying it's not a mistake for this person, but it's completely valid and correct for you to view it that way. Just be careful what you do with that energy. That's all they're saying. There's nothing wrong with your opinion. For your life, you are correct. That would be the wrong move. For their life, it's not the wrong move. You're just not going to be at peace with it. I just feel like accepting that like the way they live, the way you live is different. If you're able to get there, because I feel like this is the biggest challenge. If you're just kind of like, that's not for me, but I guess that's for them. And just kind of like they live their way, you live your way. Just doing your best with that. You know, it's because you got grace on your side. Grace is saying you have the ability to kind of let them go on their own and just detach from the details. Just kind of like, you know what, that's not how I would live my life, but that's not my life. That's their life. They have to make their own decisions. If you can accept that, they're going to have different outcomes than you, but they're supposed to. They're not supposed to be the same as you. You both actually grow from this situation. I get you from just stepping back and going, you know what, you got to let people live. And just not feeling like you have to save the situation. That's a big thing here too, because you might have that need to save the situation, kind of like this is somebody you care about, not in the sense of like you're going to go in there and do it for them, but you might give some verbal backup, kind of like, well, I know you made that decision this time, but maybe next time I wouldn't do that. I would kind of refrain from that. I know that may sound a little strange, but they have a certain way of living. I'm hung up on that. Because it's interesting. The Ace of Wands coming forward between you and this energy is telling me you're getting roped into it one way or another. Something about this situation, when this person makes this random change, seemingly random, I don't know. You had some warning, but it still seemed a little random when it happened. You're getting dragged into it in some aspect. Either it's the way you deal with this person, maybe this is a partner that you live with and you're just kind of like, well, if they make drastic changes, it will affect my life. You're getting dragged into it in one way or another. And the Ace of Wands is telling me it can go well because I feel like you're this stabilizing factor in this situation. And this might be the purpose you have in this person's life. One of the purposes, not the only. But to like be that trusted advisor, kind of like, I see where you made your choice. I see where things are a little bit unstable here. Now that you've made your choice and you're not going to back off from that, even though you're there, I would suggest securing your living quarters, securing your finances, securing your transportation, securing the friendships that you're attracted to. You seem to be stabilizing this energy. This person is... Okay, so there's a lot coming in with this. When this change comes in, you seem to be that advisor, a very strong, caring advisor. I'm coming back to this again, and it's getting on my nerves even. Be careful of how you say something. I would suggest going towards it in the sense of like, this is the choice you made. This is what I can advise based on you owning your choice. But kind of like, you don't want to like highlight that, this is what you got based on your choice. You just kind of want to say, well, you're deciding what you want. This is what I can see would stabilize that based on what you chose. You want to be careful not to kind of rub it in that you don't think it was right. because I feel like that energy is going to be there. Kind of like you don't really, I just don't feel like you're on board with it. It just doesn't feel like you like it that much. But it's just accepting, like they have to live with their own choices. I don't know. I hope that comes, because I feel them fighting for it with the Seven of Wands. Like the situation is a little bit unstable, but they're fighting to stabilize it. Your input and you saying this is what I would do to stabilize that is really helping them get their footing. Like they're stabilizing again. They're getting their feet under them again. It's readjusting the situation. They got true love come to me, peace and prosperity. Things will go very well again. I also feel like this might be one of those, I want to call it the Phoenix energy people. The Phoenix energy people, the way I view them, not that that's a thing, but they burn to the ground and they rise from the ashes and they burn bright again, and then they burn out and they fall to the ground, and then they rise from the ashes again and they burn bright and they burn out. And it's just some people have this life path that just seems to do that. They just keep doing it, and it's not literally, I know it sounds crazy to say this, but it's not bad. It's their spiritual evolvement. That's how it works for them. So they will rise again. This one will rise again. You're helping this person stabilize and rise again. So this person might have that Phoenix energy. They may. If you know this person, if you've known this person long enough, I feel like you can look back and you can see that that's what this person is. If that's the case, I feel like you can also maybe realize that, yes, they're going to rise again, but they're also going to burn out and crash again. So pace yourself. Realize that that's the energy you got here. Because I feel like they have to restabilize. Once they restabilize from whatever decision they've made, they're going to get back on course again. I'm getting like the Page of Wands is kind of like doing the routine, making sure this is taken care of, making sure that's taken care of, getting back in the mode of things. Okay, now that I've made my big change, and I'm in my new location, and I've gotten what I was attracted to, now let me get comfortable again. I'm getting comfortable again. I'm getting back into the normal routines. Like the Page of Wands makes me feel like, there's certain things got to be done, and they just get in the pattern of getting those certain things done when they need to get done, and they just keep getting into it. So they get that pattern down again. At this point is when there might be a harsh conversation between you and this energy. This person, I should say, this person. Because it feels like it's one person. There may be a harsh conversation. The Queen of Swords is not a negative energy, and I don't like it coming across that way. But I do feel like this might be a moment, like she's not always harsh. I'm just saying that. I don't want people to get that idea. But in this situation, she's also that energy when something needs to be said and a point needs to be made, she will make it, and it will happen. And that energy is between you and this other energy, kind of like when something needs to be said, that'll happen. So it's one of those things where you might be like, all right, I think we need to talk about the choices being made here and where you ended up and why. And you're like, this needs to come forward. We need to say this. And then they're going to meet that energy because this is between the two of you. They're going to rebuttal that, saying, well, this is where I live my life. This is how I make my choices. They're going to come back at you just as strong. So it's not that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that. And it's not that they're wrong either. It's just kind of like realizing that both of you are going to have a valid place to stand. And you may not see eye to eye on what's going forward, but this is a very meaningful conversation. Whatever's happening between you and this person, I don't feel like it doesn't have to be a flat-out argument, but I feel like it's uncomfortable. It's like it's very direct, it's very to the point, it's very like, this is what I saw, this is what I think should happen next. And both sides seem to be having this honest conversation. It doesn't have to be negative. I don't know. Just you might want to keep an eye on it to keep it on a level that it's productive and not destructive. It seems like it's a very fine line depending on how the two of you deal with each other. If you make up your mind that it's not going to be destructive, there's a very good chance that'll go well. It's not all on you, granted. But I feel like the determination of Capricorn is like, if you've decided this is not going to go like that, this will not be that type of conversation, and you dig your heels in about it, that's one of the strengths of Earth. Kind of like, I've decided it won't be like that, so it will not be like that. It's not fair to put that on you like that, granted, but they're saying if you want some type of advantage on that. Because with this conversation, a lot comes in. Okay? You have home safe protection on your side. You're about stabilizing and doing what's right and do it. You're about the sensible choice. It's kind of like, you know, you don't buy the shoes that look the prettiest. You buy the shoes that are going to last the longest and make your feet the most comfortable. That's kind of your energy. That's kind of earth energy. Kind of like we make the smart choice, not the pretty choice. There's been some other energies would be like, well, you know, yes, I want something that's comfortable, but I want something that I enjoy too, that looks pleasurable to me. So other energies would be like, well, I want to kind of balance the two, something that's more practical but also is beautiful at the same time. This energy you're bringing into this is like, nope, I don't care if they look like matronly ugly shoes. I want something that's going to be durable, that's going to last, that my feet are going to feel good at the end of the day. I don't care if they're black and clunky and ugly. I don't care. I want them to protect my feet and for my feet to feel good. That's the energy, at least in this situation, I feel you bringing forward. You also got beauty, because, you know, I just gave that beauty analogy. I feel like this is how you're addressing that, though, in the sense of, like, you know, it's not always about the beauty. It's about the comfort and about the smart decision, about what's going to get you down the road and back, not what you're going to enjoy wearing. There can be a melding of the two. That's the thing, and I feel like that's what we're trying to get to. There can be a melding of the two. Something very enjoyable, but very practical, something that meets halfway. And I think you understand that. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But at this current stage in the game, you're kind of like, you know, I think you've had enough joy. I think you had enough glitzy glamour. Let's stabilize this. Let's stop going towards the shiny and start going towards the practical, more hardcore. You are having an effect. So this conversation is worth it with the new beginnings in the study. But when I'm getting to the study with the new beginnings, it's kind of like you may not see these effects right off the bat. It may be something that kind of sits with somebody for a while and they think about it, and then they're like, over some time, they're like, you know what, I'm wearing these shoes, and I didn't care about practical at all, and now I have bunions, or my feet hurt, or, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm almost crying in pain because my feet hurt so much. So they may start balancing, like, I want beauty and practical. I want the two of them to come together. So they might start moving more your direction, and you're going to notice that. It's going to be enough to where you notice it. It's just not going to totally be the way you would do it, but because I feel like this is one of those things where it's kind of like you work in a warehouse, but nobody really sees your feet. Like, you're behind a conveyor belt, nobody sees your feet, so why are you looking for something that's attractive? But they're kind of like, you know what, I want to at least enjoy wearing them. I just want something that makes me feel good, that goes with my outfit, that makes me feel like, you know, I'm happy to wear them, that I could even wear them outside of work if I wanted to. And you're like, yeah, but that, and you're kind of like, shouldn't they be just devoted for work? Why do they have to be attractive? And they're like, because I want to wear something that looks nice. And it means something to them. And then down the road, they're like, oh, my feet hurt. So they'll find something, like, they might find something that's really comfortable, but maybe a little glitzy. It's maybe their feet still hurt a little bit at the end of the day, but not like they were. It's one of those things. I feel like you're going to notice. So your words do have an effect here. You are very helpful for this person. And I feel like the Tower card comes in because maybe you're questioning that. That's a weird way for the Tower to come in. But I feel like when you realize more and more that your words do have an effect, it's just like a delayed reaction before you really see that coming forward. And then you might even be questioning, I'm getting with the Tower card, did it really make an effect? Because that seems to be the forward energy, kind of like you're shocked that they're doing something more stable, but then you're even questioning, like, how stable is it really? I really feel like that's what this is saying. Like, you're not expecting that. It seems to be more your reaction. Yeah, you do. Your energy is very good. You help this person. This is more about their spiritual involvement. Both sides have spiritual involvement here, just to be fair. Them kind of giving this other idea a thought. You, on the other hand, of just, you know, people are going to make their decisions and just stepping back and realizing that's their path, this is your path. Even if you're living together, they're still going to have their own paths on certain things. I don't know if it's going to be the easiest moment, but it'll be there. Anything else with this? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.